Number 1.
Guy moved to Forsyth County, Georgia from his family's home in Snellville, Georgia, shortly before his February 1987 disappearance. He was employed as a stable hand at the Sleepy Fox Farm, a now-defunct horse ranch in Forsyth County, about 25 miles from his family's home. His fellow workers last saw Guy at approximately 9 p.m. on February 7, 1987. He was preparing to return to his parents' residence in Snellville for the weekend. Guy was accompanied by an unidentified Caucasian male known only as Jeff. Jeff was approximately 5'10" tall and 180 pounds, with a big-boned, muscular build. He had brown hair and a beard. Jeff was driving a 1972-1974 Chevrolet Impala on that evening. He and Guy entered the vehicle and drove away. Guy has never been seen again. His parents were contacted by the Sleepy Fox Farm manager on February 9, 1987. 2 days after Guy and Jeff were last seen on the property. The manager informed them that their son had not reported to work that day. Guy's family stated that he never arrived in Snellville the previous weekend and filed a missing persons report with authorities. His loved ones believe Guy witnessed illegal activity on Sleepy Fox Horse Farm and was murdered to ensure his silence. Foul play is suspected in his disappearance.
Number 2.
Jones was last seen at his home at Sugarloaf Crossing Apartments in the 1500 block of Norcross Road in Lawrenceville, Georgia on October 15, 2016. He was under the influence of LSD and in an altered mental state when he picked up his girlfriend, Deonna Horton, from work at 9 p.m. They got into an argument while he drove the 10 minutes to their shared apartment, and Jones told Horton was not afraid of anything but God and my mom, and that my mother's a god. After they arrived at Sugarloaf Crossing Apartments, he attacked Horton, hitting and choking her. Jones' girlfriend said normally he was a loving teddy bear-like man, but that night she was afraid of her life. She was able to get out of the apartment, ran outside, hid in the bushes behind the apartment complex and called 911, and then Jones' mother, who lived 5 minutes away. When Jones' mother arrived, she found him on the first floor of the complex. He told her not to listen to Horton, because she's the devil. Horton went to sit in Jones' mother's car, while Jones and his mother went to his apartment. Inside, he attacked and choked her, only stopping when Horton came upstairs and interrupted him. He chased Horton downstairs, and she hit again, and made a second 911 call, while Jones ran out into the woods behind the apartment complex. This was the last time anyone saw Jones. He has warrants out for his arrest for battery and false imprisonment in connection with the assaults on his girlfriend and mother, but his family stated it's uncharacteristic of him to leave without warning, and they're afraid for his safety. He grew up in Columbus, Georgia, and attended Central Gwinnett High School there, then left school, got his GED, and took a job with a waterproofing company. He still has ties to the Columbus area. His case remains unsolved.
Number 3.
Many teens who go missing are immediately thought of as runaways, especially black girls. Authorities often treat them as if they aren't at risk, and often, many investigations aren't taken seriously. Saba Nasheed Connor is a 16-year-old who, on July 17, 2000, reportedly left home in search of a job in Atlanta, Georgia, and was never heard from again. The circumstances surrounding her case are suspicious, but it's unclear what happened to the teen. According to reports, Saba was a teen prostitute when she vanished. The Charlie Project states that investigators believed she was working for a pimp named Michael Hollywood Davis. Supporting their conclusion was the fact that Saba Nasheed Connor had a tattoo that read Ms. Hollywood. Davis was reportedly later arrested on charges of kidnapping, human trafficking, and sexual assault after he was found by police in an Atlanta hotel room with a minor. In a news report made by WESH2, Davis was with an underage girl who had been reported as a runaway when he was located by authorities. Because of her age, the report didn't give her name, so it's unclear if she was Saba Nasheed Connor or someone else. Saba is still listed as missing in the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. Davis has reportedly since been convicted. At the time of her disappearance, Saba Nasheed Connor was 5 feet 6 inches tall and 125 pounds. She had brown hair and brown eyes. Saba reportedly had a tattoo that reads Ms. Hollywood that's inked on her right shoulder in cursive lettering. She also has 2 gold bottom teeth, a tongue piercing, and a scar of her left breast. Saba is known to wear wigs and has used the aliases Amiria Davis or Amiria Davis. She was last seen wearing a white t-shirt, a blue tank top with a flower design, blue denim shorts, and white K-Swiss sneakers. She would be 36 years old at the time of this publication. Anyone with information regarding this case is urged to contact the East Point Police Department at 404-761-2177 or their local authorities. Please share this story about the disappearance of Saba Nasheed Karyam Connor to continue the discussion about her case. She is our sister and her life matters.
Number 4.
Morgan was last seen leaving Whitey's Hideaway Lounge and Bar in Winder, Georgia, during evening hours of April 8, 1985. He had just finished a pool tournament there and was carrying $4,000 in cash that he'd won at poker. Morgan has never been heard from again. His black 1972 Ford Torino was found unlocked and abandoned in the sand parking lot of the old fort in Fort Yargo State Park, overlooking Fort Yargo Lake, on April 9. The keys were missing. There was no sign of Morgan at the scene, and an extensive search of the park turned up no sign of him. His mother described him as a loner who distrusts most people, and stated he would have to know someone well before he would go to the park with them. Morgan gambled frequently in 1985, and was a regular in bars and pool halls in the Winder area. At the time of his disappearance he was living with his girlfriend at the Bethlehem Mobile Home Park outside of Winder. He has 2 sons, but one of them died in a car accident prior to his disappearance. Morgan has no known enemies, but some theorize he was attacked on the night of his disappearance by someone planning to steal his poker winnings. His case remains unsolved.
Number 5.
Ben McCullers called his fiancée one dark night to let her know that his pickup truck had run out of gas, leaving him stranded on the side of a road in McIntosh County's Crescent community. And then he vanished, 10 years ago today. The 31-year-old construction contractor's disappearance sparked exhaustive searches involving McIntosh County Sheriff Office deputies, Georgia Bureau of Investigation agents, other public safety agencies and scores of volunteers. Nothing. McIntosh deputies and GBI agents followed up on numerous leads, tips and hunches. The Naval Criminal Investigative Service even intervened in the search for McCullers, the son of an NCIS agent. 10 years later, law enforcement officials are forthright in saying they still do not have a clue what happened to the 1994 Glynn Academy graduate. If anybody out there knows, they have not come forward. "We still don't know what happened to him," said Stacy Carson, agent in charge at GBI's Kingsland office. "It's aggravating," said McIntosh County Sheriff's Major Danny Lowe. "It's my case. I want it solved." Nell McCullers also longs for answers about what became of her son. The wound left behind by his sudden absence from her life has grown into a scar over the years, leaving daily reminders of the unanswered questions surrounding June 2, 2007. "It's been a bad dream that keeps reoccurring," McCullers said earlier this week, speaking by phone from her home in Waycross. "It doesn't ever go away. It's always in the back of my mind. What happened? Where is he? A million questions that you never get answers to." McCullers said that longing for closure is shared by her son's father, his brother, 2 sisters and many others who knew and loved him. The family lived for 15 years in Brunswick, where Ben McCullers attended Glynn Academy in the early 1990s. He later moved up to McIntosh County, where he was owner of BM McCullers Construction at the time of his disappearance. Nell and husband Dale McCullers have since moved to Waycross. "He still has friends out there, and we have friends out there who remember him," Nell McCullers said. "And we want these people to know that we have not forgotten about Ben. That there is not a day goes by that we do not think about him. Sometimes, it's just a shame." Ben McCullers remains also on the minds of Major Lowe and the GBI's Carson. The unsolved case is active in both agencies to this day. "Our case is an open missing person investigation, and it remains that way," Carson said. "Our case is still active and still ongoing," Lowe said. "And anytime we're provided with new information and new leads, we follow up on those, as we have numerous times over the last 10 years. But frankly, there has been little evidence to go on from the start." The fiancé from Darien was the last person to speak with Ben McCullers. His truck was found the next day along Georgia Highway 99 near Smith Road, in the Crescent community north of Darien. The truck was locked. His bank account in Darien still had $4,000 in it at the time of his disappearance, his parents said. More than 100 folks took part in the massive searches that followed immediately afterward, and included law enforcement and fire department officials, as well as dozens of volunteers. The NCIS even lent agents to the search and investigation, intervening on behalf of Dale McCullers, the father and fellow NCIS agent. "It was us, the GBI, the fire department, a bunch of citizens and volunteers," Lowe said. We searched lakes, we searched all over. A helicopter was brought in and flew over everywhere. Nothing came out of it. Dale McCullers, the NCIS agent, speculated to the press at the time that McCullers must have been a victim of foul play, possibly robbery. Officially, however, the GBI and the McIntosh County Sheriff's Office do not have enough solid evidence to surmise any theory about the disappearance. Those cases are very disturbing, Carson said. We just don't know. A person disappeared from the face of the earth, and we don't know what happened to him. But neither Carson nor Lowe are letting up on the quest to solve the disappearance. Benjamin Matthew McCullers was 6 foot 2 inches tall, medium build, with cropped dark brown hair. He was last seen wearing a yellow polo shirt with white horizontal stripes, green shorts and a ball cap with Georgia Southern's logo. If anyone has information about McCullers' disappearance, they are urged to call the McIntosh County Sheriff's Office at 912-437-5870 and ask for Major Lowe, or call the GBI at 912-729-6198. Anybody with information, no matter how minor, call us, Carson said. We will follow up on it. Nell McCullers is realistic enough to believe that she will never see her son alive again. But she still wants answers to those questions that haunt her daily. She wants closure. About 1.5 years after June 2, 2007, the family finally had a quiet memorial service for Ben McCullers, she said. There is a marker for him in the family plot at a cemetery in Live Oak, Florida. The marker states his birth date, December 30, 1975. There is no end date. I hold out hope that it will be resolved, Nell McCullers said. I hate to think his life wasn't worth any more than that he's just disappeared. Gone. And that's the end of it. He was a great person, a great son. He was smart and hard-working. He had a vision of what he wanted for himself and his life. He was just getting off the ground.
Number 6.
Deborah was last seen at the residence she shared with her 2 children on in the 3700 block of Union Church Road in Rockdale County, Georgia on January 29, 1991. She was apparently abducted from her home between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 4:45 p.m. Deborah's 11 and 13-year-old sons were at school during that time, and she disappeared by the time the children returned in the late afternoon. They called 911 when they saw the condition of the house. The back door of Deborah's residence had been kicked open, a window pane in the garage was broken, and the phone lines were cut. Blood was discovered inside the home and in the carport area. There was no indication of robbery. Deborah's tan and black 1985 Chevrolet S10 Blazer was discovered on January 30, 1991, the day after her disappearance. The vehicle had been parked at a housing project on Jackson Way in Decatur, DeKalb County, Georgia. The keys were inside the car, and $100 in cash was scattered in plain sight on the front seat. Investigators believed this tactic was utilized to trick potential car thieves into stealing the vehicle. Blood was found inside it. Authorities believe that 2 people were involved in Deborah's presumed abduction. An unidentified white pickup truck had been spotted in the area of her home prior to her disappearance, but it is not known if the truck is connected to her case. Deborah and her husband, Donald McNeely, were going through a bitter divorce. They had been separated since November 1989. On November 14, 1989, Deborah filed a police report stating Donald had beaten her with a board. She told her brother and a neighbor that if she tried to divorce Donald, she believed he would kill her. Deborah and Donald's divorce was scheduled to be finalized at 5 p.m. on the day of Deborah's abduction, but it hasn't been proven that the divorce had any bearing on her disappearance. Donald has always maintained that he had nothing to do with her kidnapping. In 2001, Deborah was declared legally dead. Her case remains open and unsolved, and is classified as a homicide.